Our keynote speaker today is a wealth advisor and money coach. She dedicates her life to empowering women through the use and direction of their personal finances based on their emotions around money. She is also an East County resident, and she also is a domestic violence survivor. At the time of her tragic incident in 1993, there were far fewer domestic violence protocols in place to help the valiant efforts of our law enforcement. However, because of her tragedy, a lot has changed, and she's here to tell her story. Will you please welcome Miss Jennifer Jost?
A lot bigger than I thought. A bright, shiny diamond. A diamond ring. That's usually the first promise of a life together. I had a friend that said, I got a guy for you to meet. You're gonna love him. He's a successful business owner, he has a great smile, and he's so much fun. Walking to meet him the first day, I knew my life was gonna change. And then we had our first date, and that first kiss that just ignites your whole body and you're so excited. And immediately I go to a life with him, right? We've seen our fairy tales. We had a date, that means we're getting married. We had a blast. He was just so fun. And he had a big family, which was great. And we had events every weekend. It was just wonderful. No one seemed to mind his excessive drinking because he was always the life of the party. The fun guy. The guy that you always want to invite because you know your party is going to be successful if he's there. So when he wanted to marry me at my age of 19, I felt very fortunate. I felt like I'm gonna have someone there by my side for the rest of my life. I'm gonna have somebody to love, adore, and cherish me. And he did. He worshiped me. He put me on a pedestal. I thought it was amazing. And we had so much fun. I did not even notice that the controlling behavior and the possessiveness was even a red flag. Our fairy tales don't tell us, after that first kiss, look out, because it's not always that way. I didn't trust my gut. I didn't see the flags. And he would check my pockets when I came home. He would check all my calls. He would make sure where I was at all times. I thought that was love. I thought he was showing me how awesome I was. I remember driving in a car and I couldn't even look out the window because he thought I'd be checking out somebody in the car next to me. I didn't even know that was not okay. I had my son, Nicholas, at the age of 21, and my daughter, Cherie, 3 years later. And we had, aren't they cute? We had a lot of years. And it looked like the American dream on the outside. We had the big house, we had two, expensive cars, and we had a really good time all the time. And I was a great mom. I was in the school and the sports and taking them everywhere and doing everything with them, and it was amazing. It was so fun. So on the outside, we looked perfect. On the inside, I literally just couldn't breathe. Can anyone relate to that? Do you ever get to a point where you just can't breathe? So I searched out therapy. Any therapists in the room? Thank you, thank you, thank you. I found a church group, great community. I finally got the courage to ask for a divorce. He didn't take it well. He didn't even accept it. I tried to ask his family, who were my best friends at the time. They completely distanced themselves from me. I was alone now. And they weren't believing me about his behavior. I could just see it in his eyes. When I asked for a divorce, it's like he flipped a switch. And I see a few head nods. You understand what I'm talking about, that flip of the switch. So after several months in couples counseling, I moved to my own bedroom. This man that I had been with for years, that at the time was a great dad, and he was supposed to love me, and I trusted him. He would walk around that bed at night with a gun in his hand. I just lied there tormented, and I would just squeeze my eyes so tight and just pray for it to go away. I was living in my own personal private hell. After several months, his family finally talked him into moving out. We were separated. I could breathe, I thought. So I filed for divorce. I took the next step. He showed up at the house one morning and said, "I'm taking the kids to school." So Nicholas and Shireen never made it to school that day. He actually kept them the whole weekend. And since he kept the whereabouts from me, that was considered kidnapping. He did bring them back Sunday evening. I went to court immediately, and I won. Thank you for everyone in court and that whole crazy process. So I got full custody, and he got supervised visitation. After several months, I allowed his family to take my children on vacation with him. I warned them about his behavior. I told them everything that was happening. And I was at a community event on July 10th, 1993, actually. And he comes walking in with my two kids. And I'm there with a companion, and he's shouting foul things, threatening. So we take off and go straight to the police department. First responders, thank you so much for everything that you do. Unfortunately, they couldn't really do much at that time back in 93. And that day was a crazy day. So I called my attorney, and she said, first thing Monday morning, we're going back to court. You're going to be fine. Unfortunately, Monday morning never came. The next morning, I was on my way to work, and he pulled up and had my daughter on his lap, my 5-year-old daughter, Cherie, with a gun to her head, and said, "Get in the car." He took us all back to our home and held me hostage for an hour. I was late for work, so my employees were calling. The phone was going off the hook. He let me go, and he kept my children in that home. I went straight to the police. Thank God they were there. I'd like to hear my 911 call, actually, now that you mentioned the calls. This started an 11-hour standoff. I was 2 houses over at a neighbor's house, and the negotiator would bring me up every so often to try to negotiate, release and everything that they do. And then after 11 hours, the negotiator was given an order to give him a 10-minute ultimatum. In 10 minutes, 3 shots were fired. He took the lives of both of my children, Nicholas and Cherie Souza, and he killed himself in my master closet. The negotiator had to come over and tell me what happened. We were all so completely, obviously, devastated. We had no idea that this was even a possibility in 1993. Like, it just did not happen in our little town. I saw the ambulances pull up. I saw my kids go. In the back of my head, they're just hurt. So thank God for my friends, literally carried me to each hospital. I had to go to 2 hospitals, and that's when the doctors told me that they were dead. and I identified both of my children. I was 29 years old, and I had to start my life completely over. I hope there's Kleenex up here. Love you volunteers. Humor's healing too, did you know that? So, I didn't even really have a reason to live. I didn't even have a reason to breathe besides not to give my mother the pain that I have. So I grasped at anything. My therapist, I did dream workshops, psychics, hypnosis. Mind you, I'm 29. And I tried to make sense of it. And my therapist told me, you need to go talk to someone who can understand what you've been through. So I found an amazing grief group with parents who've lost children. Saved my life. I decided during that time in that grief group that I was going to live. Not only was I going to live, but I was going to live with grace through my grief, and I was going to live with intention because I just knew I was here for a reason. I had no idea what it was. I just knew that I was here for a reason, and I took a stand, and I decided to live. When Rhonda called me to come speak, I heard her say, "Hi, this is Rhonda James. I'd love you to come tell your story." That's all I heard. She talked for I don't even know how long. Sorry, Rhonda. I love you, man. But I just felt like it was a full circle. I was like, yes, I want to come tell my story. I want to help save lives. I'm honoring my children every time I tell our story. They're here with me. They're with me every day. They're here right now. So if you get a glass that's knocked over or something, it's Nicholas. He was always funny that way. But they're with me all the time. And I just want to say that I would not be here right now if it wasn't for organizations like STAND. Victims of domestic violence, or in my case, it was an emotional also. He actually only pushed me one time. I left for a week, and when I came back, he apologized, and he never physically abused me again. It was all emotional. It was all seductive, slow, gradual, and invisible. And when we're in that place, it's like a deep, dark hole, and we have no idea how to get out. And communities and organizations such as STAND that can understand what we're going through and give us a place to rebuild our lives is so important. There's no way that I could be here right now if I did not have the help from everyone else. I did rebuild my life. I have two beautiful children, Journey and Parker. I don't think I even told them I was doing this today. And it's amazing. I know I'm living my life with intention every single day. I am here to help women, inspire, motivate, empower, live a joyous, fun-filled life full of love and joy. And I know that. We need STAND. We need you. We need law enforcement to work together with us. We need everyone to help every person who is stuck in this deep, dark hole, and they have no idea how to get out. I want to thank you so much for letting me show my beautiful children. Can you see those pictures that are there? That was a crazy outfit back in the 80s with all those colors, wasn't it? Just saying, it was cute then. So I just want to thank you so much for allowing me to share my children with you and to share my story. I'd be happy to speak with you after the luncheon if this brings up anything for anyone. And I'm so grateful to have this place and to have everyone working together to help all of anyone who's stuck on our deep, dark hole. Thank you so much. That's my favorite